there's not an appreciation of the fact that there were distinct roles that people played in the civil rights movement. That, you know, the NAACP under Roy Wilkins had its role. James Farmer and SCLC and Stokely and the student groups, you know, rallied the streets. That Martin was the big voice. That Daddy was the corporate strategist who helped to bring in the money. All of these were functions that needed to be performed by different players.
Right.
You know, not everybody could do or should do the same thing. I think the thing that often was more frustrating was not frustration with my father, but frustration with people who didn't understand what he was doing.
Right. Do you remember feeling that at the time?
Absolutely. People, you know, who referred to him as Whitney Young.
Right.
My father knew that if he was going to go into a boardroom, he couldn't do it in a dashiki. He needed to wear the suit. It distresses me no end, the extent to which history isn't taught, that kids just don't get it, and you know, our inability to learn from history. There had been so many Jews involved with the civil rights movement because there was that point of empathy with another oppressed people. When that history gets lost, I think we begin to diminish the possibility of allegiances that could really be helpful. Trying to get people to understand their points of commonality and interest is a leadership skill, and it's one of the skills that I think my father had. One of the things that I have learned is that leading is not about the leader, it's about those who are led, and it's about empowering people. And so you have to be able to really value people. One of the frustrations is that there aren't enough people for young people to look at and see how others have struggled and survived. And that, you know, we need to do a better job of getting that out. I think every person who has a private sector job owes it to my father. He opened those doors. He made equality of opportunity part of the language. We now talk in terms of diversity, and there have been new ways of couching that activity so that it is kind of less out of the goodness of our hearts and more out of enlightened self-interest. But that ball is a ball that he started rolling. Sunday mornings he would make waffles, or we would go out and buy donuts, and you know, it was just our time. You know, he was the family person, which he wasn't always able to be. So there was that side of him too, which always in my mind kept him as, you know, as daddy.